The firm accused for suppressing Bitcoin for the past 6 months was just revealed as being one of the biggest buyers over that time frame. And it wasn't JP Morgan. The truth about Wall Street's attempted Bitcoin takeover just got even more insane. Really, never trust what Wall Street says. Just watch what they do, and you will get all the signal. But before I get into this story, I do want to set the stage with this clip from Samson Mao, which I think fully explains where we currently are in the cycle.
Well, I've always maintained that it is inevitable that banks and even countries will get into Bitcoin because they just want what is valuable. They cannot dictate what is valuable to the world. That is the crux of the fiat experiment, that they try to dictate that paper is valuable. They managed to get there. And the majority of the world does believe that paper, or even the virtualization of that paper in your bank account, is money. And I think that illusion is starting to shatter. But the point I'm trying to make is that these large centralized institutions cannot maintain that forever. Money is dictated by everybody in the world, right? We decide what is valuable. But I think that's another thing people have to think about, especially Bitcoiners, that you have to think adversarially, that everyone wants your Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is the most valuable asset in the world, then everyone's going to want to get it. And the only way to get it is to play some psychological game, unless they can, unless you're paper-handed, lettuce-handed, and really eager to sell to take a fiat profit, you're going to hold that asset, right? So the only way is to wage psychological warfare, and that can be done, through public statements or through market suppression of Bitcoin and keeping the price low to break your spirit. So I think you have to think adversarially, that everyone is running a psyop on you. All the big financial institutions, they want your Bitcoin, and they're going to tell you Bitcoin is bad to your face while they buy it from you when you sell it.
Everyone is running a psyop on you. They all want your Bitcoin. I've been saying this has basically been the process since Wall Street got into Bitcoin, since the institutions got in. And it really started to make sense to me when we, started to crash from the 126 high. I'm like, dude, maybe Nico's right. Maybe it was the cycle theory playing out. But with all the good news, you just start to wonder, is like, are they trying to get Bitcoin at a discount? Well, guess what, guys? It has been revealed in the 13F SEC filings that this is exactly what's going on. So what am I talking about? Here we have Zero Hedge highlighting this, and they go, you'll never guess who bought the second most IBIT, the Bitcoin ETF, the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF in Q4. So let's zoom in here. Who is the name right here? Who is the number 2 IBIT buyer in Q4? It is Jane Street. Now, remember, we've been covering this idea. As you know, if you've been watching the Bitcoin price, Bitcoin basically crashes, or has been crashing since around October. It happened in October. It happens in November. It's been the past couple of months that almost like clockwork, at the open of the markets at U.S. time around 9-10 a.m. in the morning, you get this huge dump on Bitcoin. And there was, some investigative journalism going on Twitter, basically showing that this is seemingly Jane Street coming out here. And they're market makers, one of the biggest market makers on Wall Street. And like clockwork, they probably have the algorithm set. They're just dumping the Bitcoin price. At the exact same time, even when we knew it was going to happen, they, overpower us with liquidity. They dump it at 9-10 a.m. every morning, almost every morning. Some days they take days off for the most part. If you're looking at the markets opening 9 a.m., 10 a.m., first hour of the markets, Bitcoin was going to tank. We've been seeing this play out. It was a rinse and repeat process. And a lot of people were speculating that, this is Wall Street just trying to suppress the price of Bitcoin. When I came out on the show and was talking about this, I started making the case that I don't think it's them just wanting to quote unquote kill Bitcoin here. It's not that they're trying to get Bitcoin to zero. I think what they were trying to do was essentially lower, the price of Bitcoin so that they can start accumulating Bitcoin. That is the smartest move to make if you understand that Bitcoin is unstoppable. If you understand that there is a paradigm shift going from the analog world to the digital world, and Bitcoin's not going away. As the saying always goes, it's either going to $1 million or it's going to zero. and most of us know it is not going to zero. Well, what do? They're like, hey, first year we can actually get into this. Let's get a good discount on it. Remember, Wall Street essentially got into Bitcoin at a 100K price mark. That is their entry point. And I think they're really enjoying this 50% discount on Bitcoin because they are accumulating Bitcoin or paper Bitcoin through the IBIT ETF. But let's go a little further here. Here's some responses of what are they doing. And this is a pretty good one. It goes, Jane Street was accused of putting pressure on Bitcoin during U.S. market openings, but being the second largest buyer on IBIT in Q4 shows how the game is really played. They control the price and strengthen their position with a classic sell low, buy lower strategy. Wonder what else we'll witness. And that's what's playing out. If you feel demoralized, I know we got a little demoralized on the show. We're like, it's going up. How long is this bear market going to happen? I even was like, at this point, can we just tank the price to whatever the lows is going to be so we know where we're going so we can stack cheap sats and then get the game going, because we know it's not going to stay down forever. But this kind of sitting in limbo area, this sitting in limbo psychological toll that we're dealing with, that we've been dealing with for over a year, where I think we're just all bored to death. And obviously, as the Samson Mao video explained, that is the point of all of this. If we were all disappointed in 2025 when we were supposed to have a parabolic run, and we're in the first 2 months of this year, 2026, and we're all still feeling disappointed and demoralized, yes, on the one hand, obviously, we get cheap sats, we get cheap Bitcoin, we get it on discount. On the other hand, we're basically back to 2021 highs. It's like, it's been 4 years. All gains have been, erased. And we're like, what is going on? Something has fundamentally changed since the institutions got in. Well, no surprise. Wall Street is playing Wall Street games here. They understand how valuable this Bitcoin is. Even if they say it's not, even if they go out there and say, hey, I would stay away from this. It's too volatile. It's too risky. What do they used to say? Index of money laundering, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What are they actually doing? They are accumulating a larger position in Bitcoin. Now, the intricacies of this is where things do get a little interesting, because you're probably asking yourself, it's like, okay, Jane Street, they're just selling Bitcoin, but what are they really doing? Because then they're accumulating Bitcoin. Obviously, you get cheap Bitcoin. But when you understand the mechanics of this, you understand that they're making a boatload of money, whether the price goes up or the price goes down. So I have a good thread. It's over, bros. No, it is not over, bros. I have a good thread kind of breaking down the mechanics here. I don't want to really read the whole thing, but there is, there's some signal in this. So Smart Money Crypto, which, his name is probably an oxymoron. You're not smart money if you're in crypto. You're smart money if you're all in Bitcoin. But anyways, here is his breakdown of this. And I think this is probably what's going on, or rather, I'm like 99% sure that this is exactly what's going on. Jane Street pushes the price down, or other Wall Street market makers. As we've seen, we were definitely saying that JP Morgan crashed the price because they were fighting strategy. And then miraculously, a couple of days later, once it hits I believe it was the November kind of low, they announced their own Bitcoin back loan product. So again, they're basically getting the regulatory clarity to get into Bitcoin or crypto, whatever you want to say. And then they launch their Bitcoin products at the lows. They accumulate the coin. And then now we will probably start seeing the tide shifting when they are all actually got their bags filled. When they're all in a position that they feel comfortable about, the market makers will flip this from shorting it, from suppressing the Bitcoin price to letting it run. And then, of course, pushing it up and doing the same techniques to get the price higher. So again, Jane Street pushes the price down, at the same time buy millions of shares. Here's the full story. Again, I broke this down every morning at around 10 a.m. 9 to 10 a.m. is usually when it happens. The same exact thing happens. Bitcoin pumps during the Asia sessions. Europe keeps pushing. Everything looks good. Then the U.S. markets open, and within minutes, the price drops like someone flipped a switch. Liquidating or cascading liquidations, retail gets flushed out, and everyone's basically been tracking this for months. We've all been talking about this. We've all been seeing this happen. The 10 a.m. slam. Basically, when the U.S. markets open, we get cooked. Now, when you looked at the 13F filings, obviously yesterday we mentioned that it's not just Wall Street institutions that are accumulating Bitcoin. We're seeing sovereign wealth funds accumulate Bitcoin. We're seeing a lot of good rhetoric around Bitcoin. We're guessing and speculating that probably the U.S. government is also part of this stacking Bitcoin. It's all a little too coincidental to not put your tinfoil hat on, to not be like, yeah, they want to get the Bitcoin price 50% off, get themselves a good position, and then the fun will happen. So again, Jane Street, one of the biggest market makers on the planet. It's not a hedge fund. They're not a speculator. They're a liquidity provider. They stand between the buyer and the seller and make money on the spread. So they're making money either way, but at the same time, while they make their money, they slam the Bitcoin price. They're accumulating Bitcoin on the back end as well. In India, the exchange regulator, the SEBI, has already sanctioned them for manipulative trading and derivatives. This is on record. And now the numbers. Q4 of 2025, they added 7.1 million IBIT shares. Their total position now is 20.3 million shares, valued at around $790 million. They're also the fourth largest IBIT holder worldwide. And in that one single quarter, they added 54% of their position. So the price of Bitcoin went down about 50%, and they added about 50% gains on their position. Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me I'm seeing things here, but it sounds a little too coincidental for me. So the playbook. Jane Street doesn't operate on chain. They trade through ETF flows, which makes them almost invisible to normal tracking tools. But the mechanics are simple. When you're the market maker for the biggest Bitcoin ETF in the world, you control the order flow. You see where the liquidity sits. You know where the stop losses are. And so you drive the price there so that you can make even more money. And when you push the price into those zones, you see the cascading liquidations that we've been watching, that we've been covering for you guys on the show. And then, of course, you get cheaper entry prices. You get a bigger bite of the pie. This is what's happening. Now we know for a fact that this is what's happening. We were speculating. We had a feeling. We had a gut level feeling that this was happening. And now the SEC filings, the 13F filings show us that, in fact, this is what is happening. Of course, you rinse and repeat until that playbook doesn't work anymore, until those tools don't work anymore. And of course, they're not the only ones doing this. There's other players in the markets. Of course, whether it's the Goldman Sachs, the JP Morgans, the sovereign wealth funds, maybe even the U.S. government or other nation states around the world. And of course, there's other market makers out there. The game is the same, is what I've been telling you guys for a while. They want your Bitcoin. They're doing whatever they can to liquidate us, to demoralize us. And if you kind of connect this with the river graphics that we were showing you yesterday, about 600 plus thousand coins have left individuals' hands and have ended up in the Bitcoin treasury companies, in the corporate balance sheets, in sovereign wealth funds. They're literally cooking retail right now. Most people are getting cooked right now. They're asleep at the wheel,
like a slow cook,
like a slow cook,
like a grill, like
a smoker, like a good brisket getting smoked. Y'all are getting smoked right now. All right. So, anyways, last thing for everyone else, there's one simple rule. Oh, wait, actually, let me do this top one. This one's better. So my read, when the world's biggest liquidity providers are doubling their Bitcoin position while retail gets bled out every morning, that's not a broken market. That's a market working exactly as designed for the people who designed it. For everyone else, there is one simple rule. If you're trading with leverage around the US Open time, you're not the player, you're the product. Your stop losses are the entry prices. The positions keep growing, the patterns keep running, and retail keeps staring at red candles every morning at 10:01. Guys, it's playing out exactly as it is, like a 4-year barbecue. Exactly. Shinko Nakamoto gets it. Guys, everything you've been feeling has now been fully confirmed. Yes, maybe the 4-year cycle is still on exactly as we all knew. Maybe it's not going to go as low as we thought it was, but they literally leaned into the narratives. Everyone thought there was going to be a 4-year cycle. So what do? They crash the market. They make their money on the spread. They continue to crash the market at the U.S. market opens. But at the same time, they're not just trying to crash the market so that the price of Bitcoin goes to zero. They're trying to get a better price entry into Bitcoin. They're trying to accumulate more Bitcoin. So this is where they think they're going to get their power from, is by accumulating or concentrating more of the pie into the Wall Street hands, which is what I've been telling you has been happening for months now. It was a gut feeling. It was a speculative feeling. It was an intuitive feeling on my end. It's like, this just makes sense to me. This is just Wall Street games playing out. Now I have the data to show you guys that this is in fact going on, that all this, demoralization, all this boredom that we've been feeling is going exactly to their plan. Again, I've said this in the past. Retail is no longer in control of the Bitcoin price. For better or worse, that's just what's happening. So you can either try to fight the tsunami coming, or you do the same thing. Maybe you don't have, or rather, we don't have the tools to be market makers, to, see in the order books, to know where the stop losses are, to know where the liquidity is sitting, but we can still do the same thing, which is acquire more Bitcoin, which is the whole point of this show. This is the whole point of us coming here every single day. Yes, some days we're a little more negative than others. Some days I'm just full bull-tard hopium, but the game is still the same. I've been saying this for years. It's a game of Pac-Man. It's a game of Hungry Hippo. The name of the game is accumulation, and Wall Street is figuring out that game themselves, though they have a lot more tools to get Bitcoin at the entry they want. It's clear as day that this is happening. Nico and I have been talking about it on the show. We've even had, friends tell us that are, not just YouTubers, basically said this is exactly what's happening. They're rinse and repeating this process. Don't get shaken out. Just continue to accumulate. It's clear as day now, guys. This is what's happening. This is the game exposed. Wall Street is here. They're playing Wall Street algorithm games, and they are trying to, get a bigger share of the pie. They're getting more shares of IBIT. I'm guessing some of them are probably getting spot Bitcoin themselves. But here's the game, loud and clear. This is what's happening. So play the game as well. Accumulate Bitcoin. Continue to buy Bitcoin. Don't stop buying Bitcoin. And for the love of God, do not sell your entire stack right now because you think it's going to go lower, because I'm sure at a certain point, they're going to flip the switch and it's going to go in the exact opposite direction. So enough of me ranting. Nico, did we finally expose the game out there? Are we finally vindicated? It only took about 2 months.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, things are just kind of like, things have been weird. That's all I got to say. Things have been weird since the approval of the ETFs. And it's a different market, and for better or for worse.
Wait. Someone goes, acquire more with what?
Things have been weird, bro. It's a different market, Opti. I know you feel it. The vibes are different. The feelings are different. The commodity is different.
What commodity? There's none left. There's no community left.
It's non-existent, bro. It's so things have changed, and that's one of the things that worries me about this cycle. We showed you guys a graphic from River Financial yesterday on yesterday's show.
Yeah, maybe let me pull it up real
where
quick.
basically you had a net loss of 600,000 Bitcoin leaving from the hands of individuals into the hands of governments, ETFs, and businesses. And I also think that Bitcoin took a giant reputational hit as well, I would say. And that reputational hit is basically this perception that Bitcoin is not for it's not for, like, it's not living up to the digital gold narrative. Like, that perception is really strong, and last year really didn't help the case at all whatsoever. So I think things have changed, man. Like, that's my take on this. But I mean, we've been harping on this exact subject for like 6 months now. Like, things have changed. Now, the question that I think is on everybody's mind is, where does this narrative go from here? I think that's like the million sack question, because you know, as we head into 2026 and then 2027, every single cycle there's a different narrative, there's a different vibe, right? You know, 2017 it was the retail vibe, 2021 it was like the layer one shitcoin vibe, and then 2025 was the Bitcoin treasury company vibes, and the paper Bitcoin summer vibes. So what is the next vibe? That's what I want to know. Like, that's really the big question. That's really what everyone has at that's really what everyone has top of mind. But I will tell you something though, guys, like these bear markets have a way of basically resetting the tone and like reminding a lot of us as to why we are here in the first place. And I think that this bear market's no different. Like, I think this is why we're here. We got to remember, I think that revolutionary fire that we had in the early days of Bitcoin, you know, in the 2017, 2018 era, that's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. And, you know, Bitcoin is just becoming another financial asset in the eyes of the world. And, you know, we have to remember the fundamentals. We have to remember why we are here. We have to remember why we came here. What was the purpose of us coming here, of us buying Bitcoin, of us putting Bitcoin into self-custody? We really wanted to change the world for the better. I remember Andreas Antonopoulos' epic lectures about, you know, how Bitcoin was essentially going to challenge, you know, the global banking cartel. And now it's basically like, oh, bro, I hope the global banking cartel buys our bags. Like that's really what it's become. That's really what it's become, you know? So I hope we go back to, you know, the basic principles, the basic ethos of Bitcoin, because that's why we're here. That's what's going to change the world. And, you know, I want to move back in that direction.
We won't be back until Nico Jones comes back every single day.
I mean, I am back. I went Nico Jones on yesterday's show.
This low energy guy is not Nico Jones.
Is this Suitcoin Jones?
I mean, you're wearing a financial vest right now, so yeah.
I love Hive. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's nothing about Hive. It's more about the vest. You got the uniform on.
I thought it was comfortable. I thought it was very comfortable. I thought it was a very comfortable. You know, I needed a sweater today, and I
need Nico in a hoodie ranting about, you know, what was the Alex Jones interdimensional alien. Dude, I'm getting boomer Nico, not Nico Jones.
Okay.
I gotta get Nico on coffee or something, because we gotta get the energy up. As you can tell, Nico is totally demoralized by the price action. So Wall Street is doing exactly what their plan is working out exactly as planned, because Nico's over here demoralized.
No. Okay. So let's do it. Let's actually no. Okay, let's talk about it. Okay. So this last cycle was a fucking scam. All right, let's just start off with that basis. I think we can all agree on that, right? We never got the euphoric blow off top that Bitcoin normally gives. And that obviously leaves a lot, you know, to it took a lot of people's expectations and it crushed it into tiny atoms, right? So right now, Bitcoin is kind of in this uncharted territory, which I've been saying for the last couple of days, which I think is a good thing and not a bad thing. And I'll get to that in a second. But we have been living off this high for the last 3 years. And this high was basically Bitcoin's going to win no matter what. It's 100% with 100% certainty. That was the general consensus in the Bitcoin community. That's what it was. Since the bottom of the last bear market, which Michael Saylor admitted yesterday, we're in a bear market. Finally, the first time he admitted to it.
Dude, water is wet.
He said crypto winter, right? But look, the matter of a fact is that we have not experienced this since 2022, right? So it's been like 3 to 4 years since we've been in a bear market. We don't know what this feels like anymore. We have forgotten what this feels like. Now, add to the pain is the fact that we never got a euphoric top. So we waited from 2021 to 2025 to basically get a taste of kissing the dragon, and it was horrible. It was a tease. It was like we had a euphoric feeling. The price action really didn't really match that. And now we're heading into, you know, Bitcoin's kind of corrective measure and stuff like that, which Bitcoin always does. A lot of things that people are not talking about as well is that a lot of these treasury companies took a lot of the alpha away. So instead of people buying spot Bitcoin and putting that into self-custody, and then a lot of that going into the price going parabolic, a lot of that alpha went into the Bitcoin treasury company. So you did have a parabola if you bought Strategy. You did have a parabola if you bought Metaplanet. And I think a lot of that got redirected from spot Bitcoin to a lot of the Bitcoin treasury companies. So if you're a spot Bitcoin holder or advocate, as we are on Simply Bitcoin, I think that this previous cycle, you know, really pulled the rug out of you, pulled the rug under you, out of you. I don't know what the saying is, but the point is,
pulled the rug from under you.
There you go. Thank you, Opti. But I got some good news. And the good news is this. The Bitcoin treasury game, it's over. It's done, right? Like the fact—
Is it? You think so?
100%.
Yeah. None of these Strategy will come back.
Strategy is the only one that will come back because it has a core underlying business underneath it. If you're just a treasury company, there's no core business underneath you that's generating revenue for your business to justify its value in the markets.
I mean, I totally get that, but what does Strategy even do?
Strategy? No, I mean, no.
I know. I'm trolling. I'm trolling. It's a business analytics company. It's a software company.
It's
but,
a software.
I'm trolling.
It's a software company. So it's a software company. So Strategy does have a core underlying business. They have thousands of employees, right? You know, I think that if you're a pure treasury company, I just like, what is it that you do? What is it that you make? What is it that you produce? What cash flow do you have? So you're like your sole purpose is just to accumulate Bitcoin. That's it.
I guess so. That's my sole purpose.
No, that's fine, but you're not a publicly traded company.
I could be.
It's also like your sole
Opti on the stock exchange.
Your sole purpose is to accumulate Bitcoin, take on debt.
Here we go. Here, ultra jokes. You raise capital, but it's just you raise capital to buy Bitcoin, and then it's
what?
just.
And then
hopefully number goes. Wait, it's hold on. Raise capital, 2 buy Bitcoin, 3 question mark,
and dilute your
profit.
Dilute your shareholders in the process. Like, is that the whole purpose? Like, that's not a company. Apple makes something. Microsoft makes something, right? I understand the ETFs. The ETFs make perfect sense. Like, I personally wouldn't buy because they charge you a yearly management fee and all that stuff. But simultaneously, you're buying the ETFs to get exposure to spot Bitcoin. That's why you're buying the ETFs. What's the purpose of buying a treasury company?
It's basically like a pseudo ETF.
It's like a leverage play on Bitcoin. It's like if you're not allowed to buy the ETF because of regulatory reasons, you buy Strategy so you get exposure to Bitcoin that way. But it's really like a levered play on Bitcoin. That's really what it is.
Someone says time for an energy drink sponsorship.
All right, now we're gonna take a second to give a shout out to.
Hey yo, White Monster, that'd be lit. White Monsters are delicious.
Now we're gonna take a second to give a shout out to
Red Bull.
We'd have to do some crazy shit. Like Opti would have
to.
Dude,
we do this show every day. That is some crazy shit.
Opti would have to like jump off a plane. You know, do 3.
Not gonna happen.
That would be crazy.
I
content.
can't do that. I can't.
That would be crazy content.
That's not gonna happen.
That'd be some crazy content.
Not gonna happen.
Why not?
First of all, I can't do backflips. Second of all, I don't want to jump out of planes.
Yeah, but you're gonna do it with you're gonna do it like Red Bull style, like with the parachute after doing some somersaults.
No.
You're gonna be smashed by.
I'm not the biggest fan of heights.
You're gonna go on BitcoinWell.com from your phone while you're jumping off a plane in a parachute, and you're gonna be smashed buying Bitcoin.
Lame content. L content.
I think it'd be dope.
Yeah, but you're also a boomer now with dad jokes. All right, let's keep it moving.
All right, everybody, it's going to be a great show. We got some really good clips for you guys from yesterday. So yesterday was the World Liberty Forum where the Trump family got together. We have pictures of CZ there. We had some comments from the Trump family. They're calling for $1 million Bitcoin. CZ was talking to the CFTC chair. The probability that the Clarity Act will pass went all the way up to 90% yesterday, just based off this conference, just based off this forum alone. So that's some pretty good stuff. That's some pretty good news. So we have some clips. We have some things where we're going to talk about. We're going to break it down. Apparently, this was the place to be. And again, you're once again seeing a pattern that I keep pointing out to you guys, and you guys keep ignoring me on, which is, guys, ladies and gentlemen, why is CZ and the Trump family and Saylor all together, all buying Bitcoin if they didn't think that Daddy Trump was going to make the announcement eventually? Do you think he'll make it before the midterms or after the midterms? That's the question.
They have to do it before the midterms because after the midterms are cooked.
They might impeach him if he does it after.
He's not even, he's got to not do anything after the midterms.
He's going to get impeached for buying Bitcoin after the midterms. Anyways. All right, everybody, it's going to be a great show. We're going to be right back in just a bit. Today's episode is brought to you by Bitcoin Well Infinite. If you're a serious Bitcoin buyer, you've probably hit the same wall. Most platforms make you give up custody just to play by the rules. Bitcoin Well Infinite fixes that. They're North America's only publicly traded, non-custodial OTC desk listed on the TSX Venture Exchange, which means transparent operations and zero counterparty risk.
You buy Bitcoin, you take immediate control, period. For trades over $50,000, you get a dedicated executive Bitcoin advisor, competitive spread starting at 1%, and immediate delivery straight to your own wallet. No custody risk, no withdrawal fees, just institutional grade execution with full asset control. If you want to buy Bitcoin the right way, book a free consultation at bitcoinwell.com/OTC or email infinite@bitcoinwell.com.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, StampSeed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed phrases really secure? StampSeed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need for you to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them down on paper. Paper is fragile. Titanium plates are strong. Your words are actually stamped into the titanium plate with this hammer and these letter stamping tools. Once the words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. And now you can customize your titanium seed plates. You can upload your design or logo, and they will laser engrave it on the back of your seed plate, the opposite side of where the words are. Stamp your seed on StampSeed and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store. All right, everybody. Guys, go to stampseed.com today. I'm holding the 12-word seed plate in my hands right now. You can scan the QR code on your screen. It'll take you directly to stampseed.com. Again, use promo code SIMPLY. Promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store. Don't write down your seed words on paper. Stamp them into titanium. Stampseed.com. Promo code SIMPLY. Again, promo code SIMPLY. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $66,570. Sats per dollar, 1,502. Block height, 930 937,436. Realized monetary inflation 0.83%. Market cap 1.33 trillion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap 4.45%. Percentage issued 95.19%. I don't know how else to cut it for you guys. Like, Bitcoin's in the shitter right now. It's in the shitter. All right.
It's on discount.
It's not doing so hot, right? You're getting it at a massive discount. If you're buying Bitcoin right now, it's declined from all-time highs at 47.2%. So if you're buying Bitcoin right now, you're getting it at a almost a 50% discount. It could be going lower. We don't know, but
it's a buy one get half off special.
I'll put it to you this way. Bitcoin is lower than its 2021 peak. That doesn't feel too good to say. Anyways, moving on. So let's talk about our boy CZ. Our boy CZ. Opti and him are good friends. Opti and him were at 11 here in Miami on
Fake news.
On October 10th. I don't know what they were doing, but they nuked the fucking price, bro.
Spent a lot of sats. Totally worth it.
Opti's totally responsible for the current bear market. Anyways, all seriousness, what is the signal? What's the news here? So, the LibertyFi, the World Liberty Forum, happened yesterday. And of course, you had the Trump kids there, and you also had CZ listening to CFTC chairman talk at World Liberty Forum in Mar-a-Lago. Learned a lot. So CZ confirmed to be, at the summer, I think they call it the Winter White House. It's the Winter White House. And yeah. So again, I'm sticking to my guns. We've been right more often than we've been wrong. I truly believe Trump's going to make the announcement that the United States has been buying Bitcoin. I think that announcement's going to be made. Anyways, here's some of the interviews from the conference yesterday.
Bitcoin,
here's one that Michael Saylor reposted. Again, Michael Saylor's sending messages. These are the president's kids. Okay. Here's Michael Saylor yesterday on February 18, 2026, quoting Eric Trump, and Eric Trump's throwing some crazy numbers out. I'm going to play it and then we'll talk about it. Let's check out the clip.
Well, too, and I know stablecoin is different than Bitcoin, but you've been big proponents and bullish on Bitcoin as well.
We still are. I'm a huge proponent of Bitcoin. I do think it hits $1 million. I think it's one of the greatest performing asset classes. I mean, go back 2 years. Bitcoin was at what, 16,000? Where is it at right now? 70?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you look at the last 10 years, Bitcoin has gone up 70% a year on average, year over year for the last decade. Name an asset class that has performed better than Bitcoin. And now, obviously, you have lots of volatility. If you don't want volatility, go invest in some muni. Go have a great time. Go invest in some treasury. You're going to have volatility with something that has tremendous upside. But I've never been more bullish on Bitcoin in my life. I've never been more bullish on cryptocurrency in my life. You look at what every one of the big financial institutions in the country is doing, whether it be Fidelity, whether it be Charles Schwab, whether it be JP Morgan, whether it be BlackRock, right? Goldman's here. I mean, go down the list. Every single one of them are adopting cryptocurrencies. They're willing to treasury cryptocurrencies. They're putting their private wealth clients into cryptocurrencies. Before, they were telling them to put exactly zero into cryptocurrency. Then it was 2%. Now all of a sudden it's 5-6%, and that number keeps on climbing. It is the asset class of this generation. It's what every person under the age of 50 is into and loves, and we're just getting started. We're on the 1 yard line.
I mean, you think he'd be saying that if he didn't know Daddy was going to make a certain announcement? Why is CZ hanging out at Mar-a-Lago?
Because he got pardoned, and now that's part of the deal.
Why? No, he already got pardoned. Why?
Yeah, Saylor, so part of the deal was now do our bidding.
No. Why say? But what? What benefit is that to them?
nuke the price of Bitcoin so we could stack.
That's
so
what
we
I'm trying to
agree,
tell you.
but that's what I'm saying.
Okay. So now we're on the same page. I want to know what you guys think in the chat. Like, are me and Opti just like literally retarded and we're just like not seeing
Ooh,
things?
drop the R word. Let's go.
Are we just not seeing things? We might have to cut that out.
You're cutting it.
Are we just like, are we seeing things that are not there? You know?
I mean, yeah, potentially we're seeing ghost, but I agree with you. Look, I think the Trump children, we've been making the case that I don't think they're just stacking Bitcoin from a private, angle. Like, it's not just the private companies that are buying Bitcoin. I think they are totally trying to acquire Bitcoin on the cheap. And he did say something very interesting in that clip. Eric Trump said something very interesting, which I've said on this show in the past, that what we have to remember is it's not so much that Larry Fink is now, a Bitcoiner per se. It's not so much that he has bent the knee to Bitcoin, launched a Bitcoin product. That isn't necessarily the signal here. The signal here is that Larry Fink, as one of the largest asset managers in the world, is signaling to all of his clients, you need to own this thing, because they see the future that we see. They see where this is going. And so what he's probably doing behind the scenes, obviously publicly, he's a little more reserved. He's just like, hey, this Bitcoin thing's not going away, tokenize all the things type stuff. Wall Street shitcoining era, this is where we are. But privately, I think the conversations are going more on the lines of, hey, this fiat thing is unsustainable. The debt is getting crazy. Who knows how much longer this game is going to go on? Who knows how much longer the music is going to continue to play in this, monetary musical chairs? So you, as a high net worth individual, if you want to maintain your wealth, you should probably own some of this Bitcoin. He is literally packing the escape boats for his wealthy clients. I think that is the signal going on. Eric Trump said this exact same thing. This isn't just Larry Fink or BlackRock saying this. Now all the banks are saying this, which I see people in the chat usually, it's like, oh, they're already rich. Why do they need Bitcoin? They're not trying to get more rich. You're not looking at this correctly. If you're one of us, an average person, you usually look at Bitcoin as, hey, number go up is going to increase my wealth. If you are completely intertwined with the fiat system, it's not about necessarily gaining more wealth. Obviously, that's what the billionaires and that's what the elites want to do. Once you get caught up in that addiction of making more wealth, you always want to make more wealth. But you also have to preserve your wealth, which is kind of the classic chicken or egg problem that we always talk about, or rather, it's one of the biggest critiques of Bitcoiners from people that aren't Bitcoiners. Like, oh, you can't put all your eggs in one basket, bro. You need to diversify your portfolio, bro. And I forget who it was. It's like Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger. One of them said something on the lines of, you concentrate your wealth into one basket to gain wealth, to make wealth. But once you are already rich and you already have a lot of wealth, then you diversify to preserve your wealth. So the elites, the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs, the BlackRocks of the world, they're not necessarily here just trying to get gains. They're in the preservation of wealth game. And if you see, if we can understand what's going on in the fiat system and say, hey, look, I don't know how long this is going to go on, but there's a problem here and everyone knows there's a problem, then they're in the preservation of wealth game. That's why they're buying Bitcoin. That's why Larry Fink is out here saying, hey, you should probably put 5% of your portfolio into Bitcoin publicly. Privately, it's probably higher than that. But that's the game here. For us, it's like, I'm trying to increase my wealth. For them, it's preservation of wealth. Eric Trump is saying this exact same thing. Now, my more cynical take here is like, hey, bro, look, I love the $1 million Bitcoin calls, but like, tell your dad to pump our bags, dog. Like, don't talk to me about it. Like, tell your dad.
I think he is, dude. I think he is. I'm asking, by the way, I just released a poll in the chat. 43 votes so far. I said, is the Bitcoin bottom in? It's 50-50. It's probably not a good sign.
No, it's a great sign.
What do you mean?
Because if it's 80-20 one way, then you got to do the opposite. 50-50 means uncertainty. No one has any clue. I like that.
The hope needs to be taken out of the room completely. That's when I know the bottom's
dude,
in.
the chat is fighting each other. I think the hope is gone.
No. We need less hope. We need less hope, dude. It's too much hope. That's not for someone says 45K will be the bottom. Anywho, guys, it's gonna be a great show. If you guys are enjoying it so far, make sure to smash that like button. We did hit 500 live viewers on YouTube, so
let's go, dude. We're back.
So shout out to that. Shout out to the 50 live viewers on Rumble, and of course, shout out to the X audience coming in strong. And then shout out to all the zaps we're getting on Primal. Appreciate y'all. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. Heart for you guys on Nostr.
Keep going. Just keep it going.
All right, everybody. We'll be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 five-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones, they don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store. I want to give a shout out to our partner, BitKey. If you already self-custody your Bitcoin, you know the deal with hardware wallets by now. Complex setups, clumsy interfaces, and a seed phrase that can be lost, stolen, or forgotten. BitKey fixes that. BitKey is a multi-sig hardware wallet built by the team behind Square and Cash App. It packs a cryptographic recovery system and built-in inheritance feature into an intuitive, easy-to-use wallet with no seed phrase to sweat over. It's simple, secure, self-custody without the stress. Time named BitKey one of the best inventions of 2024. Get 20% off at bitkey.world. That's BITKEY.world with the code SIMPLY.
All right, everybody. You want to take self-custody.
Sorry, dude. Chat's cooking right now. Keep going.
You want to take self-custody of your Bitcoin. Get yourself a BitKey hardware wallet today. Again, go to bitkey.world, bitkey.world. Not your keys, not your cheese. You can use promo code SIMPLY99. You can get a BitKey for $99. $99. The original purchase price is $150. You can get it for $99. Very cheap price, $99.
And giveaway still going on. We will announce a winner tomorrow.
We're doing a giveaway, which is pretty cool. Anyways, I have another clip for you guys. I want to talk about it. Let's check it out. It's Brian Armstrong talking about the Clarity Act, which I showed you guys yesterday. The probability that the Clarity Act will pass went from 72%, and it hit an all-time high of 90% probability that the Clarity Act will pass. So I do want to talk about that. I do want to show that. Where is it? Here we go. Let's check out the clip. Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase.
We're here meeting with crypto companies, bank representatives, and senators as well to see if we can get to a solution on market structure. And one of the big issues that did come up in the past was this idea of stablecoins on rewards. I wouldn't say we blocked it. In fact, nobody, I think, in the crypto space has been working harder on this over the last few years to try to get some legislation. What we did say was the current draft, we had some issues with it. I think that caused everyone to come back to the table. And there's now a path forward where we can get a win-win-win outcome here. A win for the crypto industry, a win for the banks, and a win for the American consumer to get President Trump's crypto agenda through to the finish line so we can make America the crypto capital of the world.
All right, everybody. So I told you guys the main hurdle was that rewards situation, right? And I told you guys that was the main hurdle is because that essentially is competition towards the banks. The banks don't offer interest on your deposits. If you have a checking account, which is atrocious, you know, they do technically offer you interest, but it's like comical. It's like 0.03 something percent. It's like ridiculous. And then they charge you a maintenance fee. So you end up paying more just to have your money in a checking account rather than the bank actually paying you for having your money in the account. Now, the reason that banks feel so threatened about these like neo banks and these like exchanges like Coinbase is basically what they start doing. Instead of offering interest directly, they can't really call it interest. They're starting to offer rewards, right? So you can have your Bitcoin or your whatever altcoin and Coinbase or whatever, and they'll reward you for it, which in its mechanism, it's functioning a lot like interest, right? Like if you boil it down and you break it down to, you know, the basics of it, that's essentially what it's doing. Now, all of that being said, a couple things he said in that video as well that I want to talk about. He did mention about the importance of passing President Trump a crypto agenda. That's incredibly important. I think it's a positive thing. Again, I don't know the nuances of the bill, but I would say it's more of a pro than a con. And I'll tell you why. There's more than 80% probability that Trump, deservingly so, unfortunately, because I love Trump and I love the party that, you know, we elected into office, and I was so bullish on it. I was part of one of the inauguration Bitcoin live streams. Like, we were all about this stuff. Like, we were all over it. We were very hyped. We were very excited. But I'll be honest with you, it was a little bit of a letdown. So just a little bit of a letdown. Like, it wasn't exactly what we had in mind. Yeah, I think it was focusing a lot on foreign policy rather than the problems at home. And, you know, here we are almost 2 years later. And, you know, if you look at the poly market odds and the elections that have happened so far, it looks like the Republicans are going to get smoked. Minimum, they lose the House. They might lose the Senate now, which is crazy, right? So the reason I'm saying all of this is because the only chance that they have at passing this is right now. And I'm really happy to say that the poly market odds had it, and it has quite a bit of volume. It has more than $90,000 worth of volume. On February 18th at 3:50 p.m., it went all the way up to 90%. Currently, it's at 82% chance that the Clarity Act does get signed into law. From my understanding, the Clarity Act does have the protection of self-custody. It provides framework for the entire industry. This isn't just the stablecoin bill that was passed, the Genius Act. This is a broader Bitcoin/crypto bill, which would be good. It would provide clarity, regulatory clarity for a lot of institutions. I think this is the type of thing that if it does get signed into law, I think we might actually see positive price action, right? Because it is kind of a big deal. But again, the window is closing. They really only have until November to pass this. If they wait for after that, then there's a high likelihood it doesn't get passed. So this is awesome. Like, this is good that it's happening. So I want to get your thoughts on this, Opti. You know how negative I felt about it. I wasn't feeling too bullish about this at all. I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, well, the poly market odds are very interesting. It is. I think the timing is very interesting, and like everyone's saying, what does someone know? Someone's got to know something going on. Maybe again, maybe this is insider trading on the poly market odds, and something came out of the World Liberty. What's it for World Liberty Finance Forum that made someone extremely bullish, and they put some money behind it. So seeing the poly odds markets, or the what do you call them again? The betting odds go up. It is very interesting. Usually, with a lot of liquidity, they do seemingly, have the right idea. Because again, as the saying goes, put your money where your mouth is. Or wait, yeah, that's the one. And so it is interesting to see the betting odds go up like this. I'm still, I don't know. I'm still kind of like hesitant about it, but it is interesting that we saw Brian Armstrong talk about this. Of course, CFTC was at the World Liberty Finance Forum yesterday. I'm guessing they talked about this behind the scenes. I didn't really see anything come out of it really on the main stage. So, hey, look, I think what my vibe has been is just the clock is ticking. And when we see these kind of rhetorical, statements, these PR presses come out here and they're like, we're working on it. We're coming back to the table. It's going to happen soon. It's like we've seen this before. They've been saying that since the end of last year. And now it's like maybe in a month or two we'll have it. Again, like we're saying, I think if this doesn't get passed before summer, I don't think it's going to get passed, because they're going to pivot the machine from actually doing things to now we are, getting caught up in the midterm circus. So if it's going to happen, hopefully these betting odds are a precursor of them happening soon. But if it doesn't happen soon, then it's probably not going to happen, is kind of my view of this. So
I agree. But I mean, the betting odds have been quite accurate so far. So I am optimistic. Damn, bro, the chat's going wild and out. Opti, you got a request, bro?
no, I don't even know what it is.
You should scroll up and read it. All right, everybody, we're gonna be right back. Just a bit. We're gonna take a look at the culture.
I actually added one more button.
Opti's gonna do something for the culture.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technologies. Fueled by clean energy, HIVE has quadrupled its global Bitcoin mining footprint and channels that same scale into high performance compute, where their AI cloud is now ranked #1 in the world for network performance. At HIVE, you've got dual engines, Bitcoin and AI humming, roaring, accelerating in unison. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable digital infrastructure. You can catch the latest buzz at Hive Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com.
Whoa, what's going on here? All right, guys. I really like this thread, and I'm going to follow it up with some interesting numbers that I saw on Twitter. This is what happened? Whoa. Wrong one, sorry. Zen, I really like this guy, Zinks BTC. And I think this sums up a lot of the stuff that I've been saying. I think it's a little more eloquent than me just rambling on the show, but I've literally said this multiple times on the show. So just to kind of, set the frame here, he goes, I think it's safe to say that Bitcoin still struggles in periods of macro uncertainty, which is obviously we've been seeing that. We've actually been covering it for months at this point. There has been a lot of macro uncertainty, and further, we are now currently in some more macro uncertainty with potential war happening in the Middle East. Like we're in the midst of all kinds of uncertainty on a macro geopolitical level, and obviously Bitcoin being 24/7 the most saleable, most liquid asset, and still perceived as a risk on asset. That's what usually sells first. Bitcoin has this tendency of smelling out, you know, geopolitical macro kind of scenarios, and people sell it off first. Now, this is kind of what I've been saying. Again, I like how he put it in this tweet. And he goes, it's too nascent for it to function as a universal flight to safety asset. Only high conviction holders treat it that way today, which is what I tell you guys all the time. This is what we always talk about here, that to us, Bitcoin is the risk off asset. You know, neutral money with no CEO, no one controlling it, you know, from like a top down level. There's no CEO again. You know, the devs don't have as much control as everyone likes to say they do. Like, yes, maybe the miners have some semblance of control, but it's really controlled by the users of Bitcoin. We all make up what Bitcoin is when we run our nodes, when we transact on Bitcoin. And for most people, especially now that Wall Street's coming into it, they're not looking at Bitcoin like we look at it. They're not looking at it, you know, reserve, truly neutral money that no one is in control of. They still believe in the lie of fiat money, that money has to be controlled by governments. So we are still in the minority here. No one outside of our echo chamber thinks of Bitcoin like we do. Anyways, for most capital, the default obviously still remains gold, hence why we saw it rise last year in the face of all this macro uncertainty, and defensive equities, you know, Dow's at 50,000. Do I need to say more? Anyways, until Bitcoin is widely recognized as neutral, scarce money, it will remain volatile in times of uncertainty. This is where we are, guys. This is just a pragmatic, you know, reality of the situation. This is where we are. Yes, we have some ideologies where we think Bitcoin is going, what we think Bitcoin is, but the reality is it's still too small, and no one recognizes Bitcoin as a neutral, scarce money yet. But of course, you know, the takeaway, the bullish takeaway, it's not to worry though. We stay the course, continue stacking. Ultimately, volatility is the price of asymmetric returns. That's kind of like where I'm at right now. This is what I'm seeing. Now, to, you know, put this into the context of where we currently are and just how asleep people are at the wheel, check out this tweet by Kobayashi Letter. They go, breaking, the 60-plus day delinquency rate on U.S. subprime auto loans is up to a record 6.9%. Serious delinquency rates have more than doubled since 2021. Hence, I've been telling you guys, like, look, the official economic numbers, or at least the official rhetoric, the official party line for the Trump administration is the economy is doing better than ever. You know, everyone's richer, yada, yada, yada. When you look at the numbers, you know, inflation's down. When you not just look at the numbers, but when you know, heuristically talk to people, most people are struggling right now. And now we're seeing, you know, delinquency double since, you know, 4 or 5 years from now, or from the past. And this exceeds the 1996 peak by 0.9 percentage points. For context, the 2008 financial crisis was 5%. Meanwhile, total auto debt is up plus $312 billion over the last 5 years to a record $1.67 trillion, driven by surging vehicle prices. Subprime financing makes up roughly 14% or $234 billion of all auto loans. Americans are falling behind on their car debt at a record pace, as well as the numbers we've covered on the show before, that credit card debt is at the highest level it's ever been. You know, housing prices are at the most unaffordable level that they've ever been. And so you're starting to see that these signs are showing that, hey, people are feeling pain. And one of my theses is always the same. You know, humans are driven by either the fear of loss or, you know, the pursuit of pleasure, of gaining something. And for a while, we've been all hopped up on the dopamine of like, hey, we can all get rich. We can all go to the casino, you know, gambling, FanDuel type stuff, gambling on the bread and circuses, poly market odds. You know, America's been turned into a casino at this point, and people are literally losing their house right now, pretty much. Anyways, going further, this is an interesting metric as well. Kind of some more context on this. It goes, 1.7 million cars were repossessed in 2009 during the Great Financial Crisis, and 3 million cars were repossessed in 2025. The average new car is $748 a month. 78% of Americans commute using their cars. Subprime delinquency rates are 6.9%. Subprime makes up roughly 4% of all auto loans. The crisis is here. Now, how am I connecting the dots here is basically back to the Zink's tweet. It's like until people realize that they need a neutral, scarce money, until people realize that there might be a financial crisis and we're living right through it. Remember, they literally changed the definition of a recession. Until people actually realize where the economy is, that we might be in a recession, might be in a depression scenario.
You think we're in a recession?
I think we've been in a recession, bruh.
I mean, if you look, what it was, I think it was Sailor who said this. Like, if you look at any any Fortune 500 company outside the Mag 7, they're not doing so hot.
Yeah. It's like the official narrative, the official, party line right now is the economy is doing better than ever. When you look at data that isn't coming out from the government, it's painting a different picture. It's like people are, racking up credit card debt. People are defaulting on their loans. I mean, the numbers are literally bigger than it was during the great financial crisis. And like, you're telling me that we're not in a recession. It's like the numbers are bigger. Obviously now inflation has gotten crazy compared to 2008, 2009. So that could be part of the, the numbers really confusing us, but it still doesn't really make you feel good of like, oh no, we're actually doing a lot better than we are. And it's like people, I think they're really sleepwalking right now, and they don't realize how bad of a scenario things are, because as we've kind of been talking about in social media right now, I don't know what happened, guys. It's really difficult, I think, for most people to find the signal through the noise. And as we've been saying forever, it's like, guys, the signal's always been the same. Like, you need to own Bitcoin, opt out of the fiat system. And now when more people are starting to feel the pain, obviously it's a two-sided coin. If people are feeling the pain, they're obviously looking for an escape or a fix. But at the same time, most people don't have money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of, I think, where we are. And then further add on top of that, most people that did were quote unquote crypto curious, they got burnt in 2021 by shitcoins. And now they're like, I'm staying away from this, saying all these names about Bitcoin, whatever they want to say. And really, what's the saying? You can lead a horse to a water, but you can't make it drink.
That's true.
And here we are. Like, all the signs are showing me like, man, things are really bad. But the official narrative is just like, keep it going. We're good to go.
Dude, like this is what I've said this for years now. It's like the people that are responsible for regulating Bitcoin and the people that are responsible for the economy and like all this stuff are also the people that are in charge that could manipulate the numbers and the data and the statistics. Like talk about like, it's like, oh, we don't want to look good. We're just going to change the data to make ourselves look good.
No, they just want to look good. They don't want to look bad.
Yeah. So they just keep moving the goalpost, depending on, how it makes them look. Like, do you remember, these were like the fun old days of the show. Do you remember during the, maybe there is a silver lining if the Democrats take back the House, because we're going to have a lot of shit to talk about.
Honestly, you want to know the silver lining here? The silver lining is if the Dems do, take back the House and they get a Democrat president, they're going to attack Bitcoin. The price is going to go up. And then further, people are going to stop believing in politics because they don't like the Democrats. And bro, now we can really get some change here, guys. Now we can really do what we want here because everyone's cooked and they have no faith in the system.
Oh man,
this is my thesis.
So
this is the thesis.
You're on like max acceleration mode right now.
I am a reactionary. I'm a pragmatic realist here, and I'm like, look, we are accelerating. Right. I'm just acknowledging the acceleration.
Speaking of pragmatic realists, guys, if you want the most pragmatic realists in one venue and one convention center at the same time, you have to go to Bitcoin 2026 in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's April 27th through the 29th at the Venetian Hotel. This is the biggest Bitcoin conference of the year. You're not going to want to miss it. Get your tickets today. And if you use promo code SIMPLY, wait, let me put up the QR code. If you use promo code SIMPLY on the screen right now, scan the QR code or check or just search Bitcoin 2026 on Google or chat or whatever, and use promo code SIMPLY. You get 10% off your tickets. Again, Bitcoin 2026, the biggest Bitcoin conference, the biggest Bitcoin celebration of the year. You're not going to want to miss it. We hope to see you guys there. Again, Bitcoin 2026, Las Vegas, Nevada. Promo code SIMPLY to get 10% off your tickets. We hope to see you guys in Las Vegas. All right, everybody, that was today's show. If you guys enjoyed today's show, make sure to smash that like button. Opti, we should make it look epic. You should do the slow fade into the wide shot, and then we should just pretend to have a conversation. You know.
Okay, wait. Hold on. The slow fade into the wide.
So we're talking. It's like, all right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow for a brand new episode of Simply Bitcoin, and then.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.